going to start on Mem Base. That's 40B. Yeah,
It's a short page.
short page, right? A lot of commentary. Thank Hashem to learn today. So we're learning. We should have the basic English immediately. Okay. We start it like this. I'm a Rabami. I'm a Rav. See, there's another version over here. I'm a Rav and I'm a Rav. We had Rav and I'm a Rav yesterday. Fit. We had I'm a Rav and I'm a Rav. So that would fit better here. Well, whatever the case is. What's the meaning of the pasuk? Bata ben Adam, and you, son of man, Seilacha Kali Goyla, make for yourself vessels for exile. What are you going to need when you're going into exile? Well, Zuner Ukara Ushatiach. This is referring to a candle, a plate, and a mat. Eat on a mat. They would eat on. They would sit on the floor probably to eat, so they would put down a mat. Then the pasuk says, "B'chayser kol." Now we're jumping. That was in Yecheskel. Now this is in the Teichacha. B'chayser kol, in want of everything.
This was probably like
Yeah, well, it's a prophecy to Yecheskel. Yecheskel was already in Bavel, but he was talking about the exiles. Well, b'chayser kol, in want of everything. What does it mean? Someone that's missing like his basic needs. So Amar Rabami, Amar Rav, b'lei ner, b'lei shulchan. He doesn't have a candle. He doesn't have a table. Okay, Rav Chisda Amar b'lei Yisha, because it says he doesn't have a wife. Rav Sheshes Amar b'lei Shamish. He doesn't have an attendant, an assistant. Nachman Amar b'lei Deya. He doesn't have knowledge. Tana, so in a brayse b'lei melech b'lei ravav. He doesn't have salt, or he doesn't have fat to eat his bread with. And yeah, it would be interesting if we could match up why each of these Amoraim said that this was the most important thing. Okay. Amar Abaya. Abaya says, "Naktinan einani ala b'deya." We've accepted that a poor person is all in the mind. Not his poverty, not that his poverty is in the mind, but who's considered poor? Someone that doesn't have intelligence. That's considered the real poor. Or maybe there's another pshat. Maybe the other pshat is that poverty is in the mind.
Oh, it's sort of suggested that's just your viewpoint.
Oh, is that the way they learn it?
That's just how I'm getting it. However, I once heard that everything that refers to poor is like knowledge.
Right. So this quotes this often. Einon Niel B'das.
I think there's also a source that
Rabbi,
Yeah.
knowledge.
wouldn't that possibly go with Zusha's story where he said, I'm not lacking anything because it's all in the mind and your attitude.
Right. I don't know if that's what it really means, though. But that's definitely a pshat.
Right. And there's also like a source that says that like wealth doesn't follow knowledge.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we learned that. I think the Ron brings.
Ran says that what?
It says this means that if one lacks intelligence, he does not know how to utilize his possessions properly. Though he has confidence.
Okay. So it's not that it's all about your perspective. It's this is the reason why the first bracha that we in Shemon Esrei is to give us knowledge, because without knowledge, right, the first request in Shemon Esrei is for knowledge. Without knowledge, then everything else you just do wrong. So you need the knowledge first. And then once you have knowledge, then you can ask for everything. Otherwise, you mess everything up.
You wouldn't know how to use it.
Right. Okay, but Marava Amri in Eretz Yisrael, they said the following phrase is actually one of the singers made it into a song. The dabe, if this is there, if this is in it, then kula bay, then he has everything. Probably referring to knowledge, right? he has knowledge, then he has everything. The loida bay, if he doesn't have it, then ma bay, then what does he have? Doesn't have anything. Da kani machaser. If he acquires this, then what would he be lacking? Da loikani, if he doesn't acquire this, makani, then what does he acquire? That's pretty clear that that the way that's set up. Like back to the Shemon Esrei. What's the why that's first? That would be the most important. What was the Lavush writes that why do the order of the Shemon Esrei says why we say Rifa'enu before Baruch Aleinu. Why do we ask for Refuah before we ask for Parnasa? He says because if we would ask for Parnasa first, then we may end up spending it on Refuah, on medicine, on doctors. So first you have to get rid of the doctor bills, and then afterwards you can ask for Parnasa. No, you don't want the Parnasa before the doctor, you want the Parnasa after the doctor.
That's the American way. The first half of the life, you're trading your health for money, and then the second half, you're trading your money for health. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What's the alternative?
Torah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The Maharsha says that as the property of one lacking intelligence, it has no value.
Right. Right.
So you could have as much materialistic wealth.
Right. Right. Rabbi Alexandri, Rabbi Chia Barabba. Rabbi Alexandri says the name of Rabbi Chia Barabba. Rabbi Chia Barabba was a student of Rabbi Yechanan. Ein hachela oimed mechalye ad shemoichle al kol avneisav. Should be like a main student. A sick person doesn't get up from his illness until all his sins are forgiven. Guess what it means is that the suffering that he goes through cleanses him. Shenemar hasileach l'chol avneichi hareif l'chol tachtoichi. Pasuk says, say it on Rosh Chodesh, I think, the who forgives all the sins, who heals all the illnesses. Okay. Rav Hamnuna Amar. Rav Hamnuna says, Chayzer liyimei alumav. He goes back to being youthful. Alam is a strong person in Aramaic, but it's spelled with an aleph, but it's actually the same word. Called the alam kvar, right? So it means youthful. What's the word in Alma? Alma. It's a girl. They think it means a virgin. It means strong. It means strong or youthful.
For a man.
Right. The word means strong, so it would mean strong or it either means, in full vigor or whatever. But they have another translation.
Spanish, alma means soul.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So.
Alma is like soul in Spanish.
So Chayzel Alumav, he returns to his youth. Shenemar, root face besarei minoar. Root face, the commentary here says, it's ratov bafash. That means that it becomes moist and smooth. His skin becomes like a child. Skin becomes smooth again. Yashav liyimei alumav, he returns to his youth. Kol mishkavei afachta b'cholye. Whenever he lays his sin, his illness turns over. He turns over in his illness. I'm a Rav Yosef Leimar the Mishkach Limudai. I'm not sure where he gets this from. I think he gets it from Yashav Limei Alumav, because he returns to his youth. That means that after his illness, he forgets what he learned. He returns to his youth. When someone recovers,
Forgets literal, like
he forgets his learning. We'll see what it means in a second.
because when we're young, we don't know anything.
Because when you're young, you don't know anything. And then when a person's ill, he probably doesn't have time to review. He doesn't have the strength to review. So He forgets. Yeah, was it Tana de Be'elio? The person can study for 40 years. But if he doesn't review, he can forget all his studies in 2 years.
Keep adding to
Compares it to a person's name, reputation. A person can work for his reputation for 40 years, and he can lose it all in a day. So that's the way it compares the knowledge to.
One wrong thing on the news, or career's over. I don't associate with that. So that's,
Right, not politically correct. It's finished.
Yeah.
maybe for spending 40 years correcting.
Right.
People have said that to me about learning more.
That you learn to learn.
Times people said, oh, when I was in yeshiva, I could really sit and learn,
Right,
but I have.
right, right.
But there's also a quote that like if we neglect like Torah, like one day, like Hashem will neglect us too.
Right.
So like the more we distance ourselves,
Right.
it's measure for measure.
Right. Okay, I'm Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, I'm sorry, I skipped a very important piece. Rav Yosef Chalash. Rav Yosef was ill. Yakalei Limude, and he forgot his learning. Ahadri Abaya Kameh, but Abaya brought it back to him. Abaya would remind him of the things. Hainu de Bechol Ducht Amrina, and look at how the Gemara tells us. This is why in the rest of Shas, like this Gemara is telling me why other Gemaras. In the rest of Shas, we say, Amar Rav Yosef Leishmiela Dashmaita. Rav Yosef says, I never heard that. And Amalei Abaya, Atam Risan Alan. Abaya says, what are you saying? You're the one that told it to us. And you told it to us based on this Brisa, this Mishnah. Okay. Abaya would remind him what he forgot. Well, they say that Rav Yosef in the end of Masechta Saita is the one that says that in the end of Masechta Saita it says that don't say that there's no more humble people, because Rabbi Yosef says there's still me and I'm humble. So it's a surprising comment, right? So
right, yeah.
so they say like this, that a wealthy person knows that he could lose all his wealth. Lose all his wealth. So he doesn't get arrogant. He knows that it could go and whatever the business, however that. But someone that studies Torah thinks that this I really have. I can't lose it. So Rabbi Yosef says no. Even for Torah, you have to look at me, because I had Torah and I forgot it all. So even someone that thinks that they could be proud of their accomplishments in Torah. So there still is humility because Rabbi Yosef exists. That was a shot that they said.
We learned a couple pages ago that kind of like remembering what we learned is a gift from
Right.
Hashem.
Right. Yavagomer Rebbe Tlas Esrei Api Hilchasa. When Rebbe learned 13, how do they translate that? Aspects of halacha. Agmeiler Reb Chia Shivaminayin. He taught Reb Chia, who was a student of Rebbe. 7 of them. L'soif Chalash Rebbe got ill. And Ahad Reb Chia Kamay Ohani Shiva Api, the Agmei. So Reb Chia was able to teach him the 7 that he was taught. So he reminded him. But Shita Azdu, but he lost 6 of them. Well, Havihu Katzra, there was this launderer. Guess what is it? Laundry, wash the clothing. Havishmiel Leila Rebbe, could have a garsto. Probably did the tablecloths in the Beis Medrash.
Oh, he's not a money one.
No.
No, there was no money laundering back then.
So he heard Rebbe teaching this. And Azor Reb Chia v'Gamer Yasen Kamikatzra. So he went to this fellow and he asked him, teach me what you remember from, well, Asa Hada Yasen Kami Rebbe, and then he went back to Rebbe and he taught Rebbe. Right? Remember the story with Alter Rebbe with that book? There was a book that it said on it, anyone that looks in this loses his share in the world to come, or something. And then there was a fire and it got burnt. Alter Rebbe said, someone remind me what it said in that book. He said, how could we look at it? It had said on the cover that, he said, where's your Mesiras Nefesh for Chassidus? So Kadavichazile Rebbe Lukatra, when Rebbe would see this launderer, Amalei Rebbe would say, Ata Sisai Siveschia, you made me and you made Chia, because of what he was able to remind him as learning. Some say that what he said was the following: Ata Sisas Chia v'Chia Asaisi, you made Chia and Chia made me. Okay.
So it's like the launderer became the father.
Right. It reminds me of the Rabbi Akiva's wife, when the students wanted to push her away, and then he said, "Everything that I have belongs to her. Everything that we have, it's all in her merit."
And everything you guys have is in
Amar Rabbi Alexander, Amar Rabbi Chia Barabba, another statement. Gadol nation asal chayli yisman nation asal Hanani Mishal Vazaria. The miracle that happens to a sick person that he recovers is greater than the miracle that happened to Hanani Mishal Vazaria. They were thrown into the furnace. So Hanani Mishal Vazaria Eshel Hedyet Bakol Yecholim L'Chabaisa. That was just a fire, a regular fire that anyone can put it out. But this is the fire that's in a sick person, which means his fever. This is from heaven. Who can put it out? But you just pour water on it. It doesn't put out the fever. Actually, they do that sometimes. Yeah. They put them in a bath.
cold shower.
Right. But okay. Varmar Alexandria Amar Bchia Barabba Varmar Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Some say it was Rabbi Shua ben Levi that said this. Given Shegia Kitzi Shaladam, Rabbi Shua ben Levi is a teacher of Rabbi Yechanan. Bchia Barabba is a student of Rabbi Yechanan. Given Shegia Kitzi Shaladam Akol Meishlam Bay. Once a person's time comes, then everyone is in charge of it, which means that how the person goes could be anything could happen once it says time's up. Shenemar, as it says, said this Kayan said, whoever finds me will kill me. That means he could die from anything. Rav Amar Minadein Kra. Rav says it's from the following pasuk. Mishpatecha amdu hayom ki akol avadecha. Mishpatecha over here is being translated as when the rule is up, when this time comes, then everyone is the servant. Everyone is the servant, the messenger of Hashem to take the person. Rabba Bar Shila Amrulay, it's Amarulay. To Rabba Bar Shila, they told him, Shachav Gavra Gavaya, this tall man died. Avirachiv Gerdaina Zutra, but he was riding on a small mule. Mata Titura Istavit. He came to a bridge, and I guess the mule went crazy. Stavit means went crazy. Shadye B'Kashachav, he threw the rider off and he died. Karial Nafshelam Mishptech Amda. He said that's the pasuk. How was supposed to imagine that this tall, strong guy is going to die from driving over a bridge and just whatever happened. Shmuel Chazi Lahu Akrava.
I think the example is, in other words, it's like an adult riding a kid's bike when your feet can touch the ground. So even if the bike goes out from under you,
right,
you can still stand. So in other words, this guy, even though
very good,
nothing naturally shouldn't happen, should call this God.
Right. Right. Shmuel sees Lahu, it's supposed to say Akrava, the scorpion, Yasiva al Akrukasa, the frog. That's the word, croak.
Whoa.
It's croaking. It's sitting on a frog, Va'avra, and it's going over a river. Tarka Gavra Umis. So the frog can swim. The scorpion can't swim. So the scorpion's riding on the frog, gets across the river and goes in and bites a man. The guy dies. They stand today in your judgment, which means when a person's time is up. That's what whatever it is, even something so odd. The only time you visit a sick is someone that has a fever. What What are you coming to exclude? When don't you visit the sick? Lafuki Adatanya is coming to exclude what it says in the Brisa. Rabbi Yossi ben Parta Mishum Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yossi ben Parta says in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, you're not supposed to visit the sick when the person has a stomach ailment, or if he has an eye ailment, or he has a headache. We get why you shouldn't visit someone that has a stomach ailment. He's going to need to excuse himself, and he's going to be embarrassed. So just leave him alone. Don't visit him. He needs his privacy. But why can't you visit someone with an eye pain or a headache? This is because of what Rabbi Yehuda says. Talk, speech is bad for the eyes. This sounds like the Dr. Seuss. Remember, it says, I can read with my eyes shut, but it gives me headaches or something.
Yeah, it says it's because typically someone looks into the eyes of whoever he speaks to.
Oh,
if
so
he keeps
these
his eyes open.
could strain the eyes.
From a medical end, because I don't think this is a simple headache. If you think about someone with a very serious migraine, first of all, they tend to have pains in their eyes as well. Comes with it. And the other thing is they're photophobic. They can't stand any light. They can't stand any noise. So they want to go in a dark room, go to sleep. So the last thing you want to do is go to somebody who's got a terrible migraine, who's lying down, who's closing his eyes, and you want to stand there talking to him and having
right. What's the word? What's the word? Phonophobic?
Photophobic.
Photophobic. Light.
And I think phonophobic.
Phonophobic.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm
they
not sure
wanted
about
the
that.
noise bothers.
Definitely bothers. You know, us guys from the Bronx, we were
Make
very
up words.
into malapropisms.
Is that a real word? Malapropism?
Yeah, from Mrs. Malaprop, who made up words. And that's where our gang, whatever the guy used to use, all these words that really I think it's such a
Okay. Amar Rava. Rava says, Hi Ishta, this fever, if you don't get distracted, just tell me if you agree with this. Ilav de Pravanka de Malka de Maisa. If it wasn't the messenger of the angel of death, Mali, it would help like thorns for the palm tree. There's benefits for the fever. It keeps away some things. I don't know, thorns on the dates keeps away maybe the animals or people from stealing them.
Well, fever comes from white blood cells, you know, that whole inflammatory response. So you're fighting an infection. Fever is a good sign. Lack of fever is not.
Does the heat itself kill off anything, or that's not really what's happening?
That's the bubonites that we usually do it, but I don't know if that's.
Okay.
So what is the function of fever?
Well,
Fever,
now it's saying
fever stuff comes. I think it's just something that happens. Again, maybe it does, heat up some bacteria. I don't know.
Fever also like lets us know if there's something wrong.
right.
Infection.
Right.
Yeah, it tells grandma to come in and make chicken soup.
Right.
Otherwise, how would she know?
What is
Then what is chicken soup?
Yesterday I came home and my grandson's sitting. I'm sorry, there's all this story sitting in the room there. I go, what's the matter? He goes, Grandma says I have a fever. It's like, they do one of these touch things. I said, wait a minute. They go, get my back there, take out one of these headphones. Guy's 100.6. Oh my God, you do have a fever. He looks perfectly normal. Then later on, he wants to go outside and play basketball. He says, I don't have a fever anymore. I said, what do you mean? He says, go check me. I go put in 98.6.
Oh, right.
With more
It was funny.
With more medication. what they would use to fight off stuff was food.
Okay.
That's, I guess, where the chicken soup came from.
So I'm asking him, what's the science of the chicken soup? It's not about the mice.
They did a study many years ago, like 34 years ago. Remember, I told this once I think to whatever company that made chicken soup, sponsored a study that there was a reward for whoever discovered the therapeutic value of chicken soup, and they had people figuring out the biochemistry of all these different things. The one that won had split up two pre-K groups of kids. All right, had them all when they weren't sick have chicken soup, but one group had the chicken soup fed by grandmothers. That group got better. Had nothing to do with the chicken soup.
She's the catalyst.
His grandmother won that.
Okay.
What was the sample size?
So, Chadlet Lassen Yaiman, once every 30 days, fever would be beneficial. V'chi tiraiki legufa. It would be tiraiki. It would be a teriyaki.
Antidote for poison in the body.
It'd be a potion, like an antidote. Merkachas is like a mixture, a potion called tiraika. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar Leihi v'lei teriyaki. He says, I don't need it, and I don't need its potion, so I can do without it, right? Amar Rabba bar Yonasan, Amar Rav Yechiel. Okay, that's interesting, isn't it? That's your name? Uh-huh. Arsan yafa l'chayla l'refuasei. Arsan is beneficial for a sick person to heal him. My arson, but what is arson? That sounds like a poison. Amar Rav Yonasan, Chushla Desari Atikta. It's a peeled old barley. The Reish Nafya, which is at the beginning of the sifting. It sounds like a bran. Like what's next? Amar Abaya. Bayan Bishula can bisr the Turo. To cook up this arson, it has to be cooked like the way you would cook meat from an ox. It has to be cooked for like very hot and a long time and a flame. Rav Yosef Amar Smida Desari Atikta the Reish Nafya. Rav Yosef says that it's. Oh, look at that! You have Yonasan and Yechiel right here. Yeah. Yonasan and Rav Yechiel. Rav Yosef says that it's the smida means the flour, I think, right? Yeah, so it's fine flour of the old barley that's at the beginning. That's the beginning of the sifting. Not what's left in the top, but what's on the bottom, what comes out. That's the. Amar Abaya bain bishul kibisur detura. It needs to be cooked like ox meat. Amar Rabbi Yochanan boredom. Apparently, boredom is very bad. Boredom is you don't visit someone with this, and you shouldn't even mention the name. That means you shouldn't say that this person has this illness. Well, it turns out, what is this? My time. What's the reason? Because it makes him like a fountain. The commentary here says that it's a mixture of two words, combination of two words. Bor dam, like a pit of blood. Apparently, he's like hemorrhaging. He's bleeding.
Wow. Here, where it says that it's like not to mention his name, is there a connection with yesterday? That like when a person got sick, it was good not to talk about it.
Oh, I think they didn't want to mention that to say that the person has this. Why that? Why? Oh, apparently it wasn't a nice word. It's not a clean language. All right.
You're talking about?
Rabbi,
Yeah.
Back up, I was mistaken with the book of mites. It's not book of mites. Fever works by causing more damage to pathogens and infected cells than it does to healthy cells in the body.
Right.
So
That's
it
what it's
actually
not.
is part of the
So the heat itself is beneficial. Yeah, so the Gemara had this already. V'amar Rabba Lazar, Lamina Kishmai Bordam. Oh, why is it called Bordam? Shukamayin and Neveya. I guess that's what he's explaining, that it comes from those two words, Bordam. Okay, now we go back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that when someone takes a vow that he's not going to give someone else benefit, or the other person can't have benefits from him, so then he was allowed to visit him if he was sick. He was allowed to heal him refuas nefesh, but not refuas mammon. So we have to see what that means. Merapei refuas nefesh. You can heal him refuas nefesh. Nefesh could mean soul. Well, hey chiktani, what does this mean? What is it teaching? Doesn't mean that the word nefesh could also mean willingly. The pasuk says, Im yesh es nafshechem, if you are so willing, right? So it would mean refuas nefesh means if he's willing to heal, that means he's doing it for free. Then refuas mamin would mean b'schar, money would mean that he's getting paid. So if that's the case, then how would we explain this? We would have to say that the vow was, remember, wasn't clear who took a vow against who. It was the doctor or the patient. It was, so if it would be here that the nichse chayla, you want to join us? Are you looking for there's a Gemara down there?
20 minutes.
Yeah, down over there, there's a Gemara. There's a blue Nedarim.
You won't give them the art school.
So if we say that 41b, if we say that refuas nefesh means for free, and that would be acceptable for the doctor to heal the patient for free, but it would not be acceptable to take money, then we would have to explain that the case of the Mishnah was where the ill person said that he's not giving benefit to the doctor. And therefore, he can't pay him. He can only give, so the doctor can only heal him refuas nefesh, but he can't heal him for money because he can't pay him. Now this would mess up the way we had two ways of learning always. When it says that he can't forgive the money. Remember, we said he can't forgive the money. What if he actually takes the money? Because we mentioned that he could actually purchase something. So this was a real service. Then what would the issue be?
As long as he didn't overpay him.
As long as it's not overpaid, right? Okay. But the Gemara says, if that's the case, that we're dealing with healing for payment, healing for free, then listen, hachi. And why did he have to use such a term, an ambiguous term? He could have said that he can heal him for free, but he can't heal him for pay. Why didn't it say that? Why does it say refuas nefesh? And we have to translate nefesh, that means willingly. Ela refuas nefesh is gufay. Refuas mamin is behemtlis. We changed the pshat. Refuas nefesh means that the doctor's allowed to heal him, allowed to heal his body. He's not allowed to heal his animals that are sick. Now we changed the whole pshat in this. Right.
So they have the work.
But we don't say refuas nefesh, refuas mamin. Here the contrast is nefesh and mamin.
Yeah, but if nefesh is goof, why do we say nefesh?
No, because it depends what you're comparing it to. Nefesh to mamin, then nefesh means guf. If you compare it to, it depends on what the.
The patient decided to vow to not get benefit from the doctor.
Now it's the opposite. Now we have to switch the whole case. Now we have to say, yeah, the Gemara doesn't do this for us, but the commentary, the Ran adds that in. That now we have to switch the case. We have to say that the doctor is not allowed to give benefit to the patient. But over here we say that he is allowed to heal him. Allowed to heal him because maybe he's doing a mitzvah and he should be allowed to heal him. The only question is, why can't he heal the animals? So, because he's not allowed to give benefit to this person. The problem is that if the man lost an item and he finds it, we said that Hashavas Avedi was allowed to do. He was allowed to return it. So why is he only allowed to return an object that was lost out there? But he can't give that object some. He can't give that animal that got lost. He can't give him some medicine. He can return him to the owner. He can't give him medicine. It doesn't make sense. Giving the medicine would be like Hashavas Aveda, like returning the lost object. Why can't he bring him back? But he can't. The Ran asked this question, and he says, because there's another doctor in town, he has to leave it to him. But if there was no other doctor, then we would say that he would be allowed to heal the animals as well. There was another vet in town. Okay. Amar Rab Zutra Bar Tuvia, Amar Rav, Avalaimale Sampleni Yafala Sampleni Rale. But he's still allowed to say, I'm not allowed to heal, but you want to know what to do, that medicine, it would actually help. Or that would not be, don't feed him this, but feed him that. Now the Ran adds in over here that when it said before he's allowed to heal him, whose medicine is he giving? Because he's taking medicine from the person, from the ill person. He wouldn't be allowed to give him medicine. He has to say, what do you have in your cabinet? And he would take it out and feed the patient the medicine that he himself had. He wouldn't be allowed to give him.
So if he gives him a prescription, then he has to buy in the store.
That would be fine. Yeah, so here, he's allowed to give a prescription even for the animal.
Well, wouldn't the information be more valuable than the
It's not considered giving him a benefit. Usually when it's referring to benefit, when there's a vow, I'm not going to get benefit from this, but we mean monetary benefit. Yeah. Did we say he was allowed to teach him Torah? Yeah. He said he's allowed to teach him Torah, but he wasn't allowed to teach him Torah that he would have to pay for. Remember? If he'd have to pay for it, then that would be, and then he doesn't charge him, then that would be gifting him that money. Yeah, Nikra not. Yeah. Okay, now we have a new mission that says, they can go to the mikveh together, but they can't take a bath together. They can go into a big tub, but not into a small tub. These people that took a vow not to give the other benefit. The reason is, they go in the small tub, so the water level rises. So the guy gets, the water goes up a little higher. So he gets that benefit.
Second to last Mishnah in the Mishnah.
All right, right. So in a big bath, it doesn't really rise too much. He goes into a pool, doesn't really go up much. We can sleep with him in the same bed. That's only in the summer, but not in the winter, because he gets warmed by this other person there. He feels warm, so then he shouldn't be giving him that benefit. Could sit with him on the bed. That probably means to eat. I'm not sure if it means to eat. But they can eat with him on the table, but they can't use the same plate and the same bowl. Reason is because he may leave him a larger portion and say, okay, don't worry, you take the big piece. And then he shouldn't be giving him that piece. They should be, if they're going to eat equally, fine. But if he's going to be giving him extra, then he's giving him benefit.
Why would anyone want to share the same food from the same bowl with a sick person?
It's not a sick person now. Now it's the guy that he hates. It's the guy that he took the vow. He's not sick anymore. He healed him already in the last Mishnah.
Now it's a family meal. The guy he hates, right?
Let's eat.
But if it's a serving plate, then he's allowed to do that. Why? Because the serving plate goes back to the host. Then they just take what they need. They don't finish what it is, and the person doesn't leave something for the other person. Whatever's left goes back to the host. Tanya, we have a brisa. Shouldn't bathe with him in this bath. Shouldn't sleep with him in a bed. Ben Gedela, Ben Ketana, Rav Meir, whether it's big, whether it's small, that's the words of Rav Meir. Rav Meir actually has a Gzeira, that if it's a small one and in the winter it's a problem, so therefore they make a Gzeira, big one as well. Rabbi Yehuda Gedela, B'Maisa Geshamim, a big one, a big bed, that's fine if it would be in the winter. In Ketana, in a small bed, B'Maisa Chamamata, that's only in the summer is permissible. Yeah, because you shouldn't be giving him that extra body heat, because they're sleeping in the same bed. So if it's a big bed, then even in the winter it's fine because they're on two sides of the bed. It's a king size bed. They can wash in a big bath, and they can sweat in the small one. What's that? What does he mean? What is he saying to sweat? Any commentary over there?
Provides no benefit for the other.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter because it's a hot bath anyway. Okay. But can sit with him on the bed and can eat with him on the table. But he can't use the same plate because the guy might leave over for him more than his allotted share. But he can eat from the tamche that returns. Rabbi Yisrael explains that's talking about the tamche, that plate, the serving plate goes back to the host. And then it's not a problem of him leaving over for him because it anyways, all the rest goes back to the host. So everyone will take whatever they want. Mishnah says, this is an interesting word to use for people. Avas is a trough. A trough, the animals eat from.
Oh, yeah.
For horses, right? So apparently the workers would have a something like that as well, and it was called an avas. The reason is because they would work a lot. They would work very hard. They would eat a lot, and they would feed them like animals. One of them ate a little less, then the other guy would gobble up his portion. So that's a problem. Layase imai be'uman. Can't do work with him in a row. Now, and we're talking about like in a vineyard, they would work maybe like make holes around the roots or something. They would dig around the root. Well, Divri Rab Meir, that's what Rab Meir says. Chacham say that he can, as long as he's not very close. Okay. Everyone agrees that if it's close by, it's also. The reason is it's prohibited. The reason is because when you soften the soil in one spot, it softens it all around. Soil gets softer. So he would be benefiting from the other person's digging. Kipligi barachik. The problem is when it's far away, that's where there's a machlekes. Rameir severed gazrin rachik mishum karev. Rameir makes a gzeira. The kamar plei lara kamei. Rameir says that distance is a problem because you may do it close, where over there you may softening the land. Rabbanan Savri Legosri, the Rabbanan say we don't make a decree. Okay, let's leave it here. Have a good day, everyone.